Hey everyone, and welcome to the next video in our tutorial series. In our last video, you learned the different types of microphones we have and how you can use them. Today we'll be talking about the basics of audio editing, and I'm using a free software called Audacity, which is a really powerful tool to edit your audio with. So I've recorded some test audio that we're going to work with, and this is what it sounds like.
Hey everyone, so this is a sample of a very low quality audio recording that I'll use to show you guys how to edit your audio in Audacity.
So as you can tell, the audio is pretty bad, and I'll be showing you guys how you can make it much more workable for your project. So first we'll be discussing the different controls you have. So first off, we have the selection tool, which is this cursor type symbol. What it allows you to do is just select different parts of your clip and manipulate them. So you can delete your clips and you can move them around. The next tool is what's called the envelope tool. This allows you to select different key points in your audio clip and have different levels of volume for those points. So you can use this tool to create simple and quick fade ins or fade outs for your audio clips. The next tool is the zoom tool, and as the name suggests, it allows you to zoom in and out of your audio clips. So sometimes you may want to zoom into a section and you want to manipulate that section, and this tool allows you to do that. Which brings me to our other tool. This is called the draw tool. So as you can see, when I zoom quite a bit into my audio clip, I can see individual samples. And using the draw tool, I can manipulate each of these samples individually. So your audio might have this loud click somewhere, and you can use this tool to reduce it quite significantly. And next we have the time shift tool. And this basically allows you to move your audio clip within the timeline, as you can see here. And finally, we have the multi-tool, which is just a mixture of all the tools we discussed above. So you can do all the tasks mentioned above using just that one tool. So once that's sorted, we can move on to editing our audio. So generally speaking, it's a good idea that your first step be removing the noise from your audio. So it can be anything like your fan in the background or just some white noise that your microphone happened to pick up. As you can see in the audio here, I intentionally had some background noise while I was recording. And you can see this noise in the playback level indicator during the silent parts of my audio. So you see some activity even though I'm not speaking. So how would we go about removing this noise? Audacity has a plugin called noise removal. So initially you'd want to select the silent parts of your audio using our selection tool. And from our effects panel, you can go to noise reduction. From there, you first select get noise profile. So what that does is analyzes your audio and then finds out from your silent parts what your noise is. And then you select your whole clip just by clicking anywhere there. And then go back to the effect tab and then click on repeat noise reduction. Now as you can see, there's basically no noise in our audio.
Hey everyone, so this is a sample.
And depending on what type of noise you have in your background, this may give varied results. So it might do a better job sometimes, but sometimes it might not do anything at all. Don't think of this tool as a way to completely remove noise from your background. Think of it as something you can use to bring the noise down to unnoticeable levels. Once you've taken care of the noise, we can move on to our next step. So what I generally do after getting the noise sorted is amplify my audio such that the peak power is at 0 decibels. And this just gives me more raw audio to work with and manipulate. And this brings us to our next tool, which is the filter curve. So this brings up a pop-up And on your x-axis you have all the different frequencies of sound in your audio clip. And on the y-axis you have the power level for those frequencies. And using this tool you can set different power levels for different frequencies in your audio clip. The settings might be different for your case, so it's a good idea to play around with these settings with your audio clip to see what works best for you. But generally I increase power to my highs and a little bit to my lows as well. And next we have the compressor tool. What the compressor does is reduces the dynamic range of the audio, which is just the difference between your loudest and softest part of the audio. What this allows you to do is amplify your audio in a way that wouldn't have been possible without using the compressor. So essentially in the end you'll be able to amplify the soft parts of your audio while maintaining the loudness of your maximums. So what are all these settings and what do they do? The first one is what's called the threshold. Here you can choose the level above which your compressor is applied to. Now what this value means is that anything that's above or louder than -30 decibels, your compression effect will be applied to. Next we have the noise floor, and by changing these values you'll tell Audacity when you're speaking and when the silent parts of your audio are. So you don't want Audacity to amplify the silent parts up to a point where it's just white noise. So next we have the ratio, which just tells Audacity how much you want to compress your audio. So choosing higher values will have Audacity compress it more, and you don't want this to be too high such that your voice kind of sounds muddled, but you don't want it to be too low where it doesn't sound like you did anything at all. So the last two settings are your attack time and release time. This basically tells Audacity how quick you want it to respond to your audio signals. So these are the settings I generally use, but as I mentioned earlier, it's better to play around with these. So once you do that, this is what our audio sounded like.
Hey everyone, so this is a sample of a very low quality audio recording that I'll use to show you guys how to edit your audio in Audacity.
Now as you can see, our audio is much fuller and has more volume of sorts, but you can still hear a lot of clipping, which are sounds that have exceeded the threshold of your mic. So they're too loud and these are responsible for the annoying clicks in the audio. Now what you do for that is go to our amplify tool again, but instead of setting your peak amplitude to 0 decibels as earlier, you set it to something lower, like let's say -5 decibels, and this will reduce almost all of your clipping, and now you'll have your compressed audio minus the clicks. You can achieve a similar effect using the normalize tool, which essentially works in the same way by setting your maximum amplitude to a value you set.
Hey everyone, so this is a sample of a very low quality audio recording that I'll use to show you guys how.
So here I've noticed a small section in my audio which has a loud S-ing sound, so I'll be using the effect we learned earlier to try and reduce it further. So I'm using my zoom tool to zoom into the section that I'm looking into, and I'm using the filter curve applied to that small section and reducing the power to the high frequency sounds. So as for the bare minimum you can do for this audio clip, these are all the effects that you can use. But again, you can experiment with all the different effects Audacity has to offer. And as I've mentioned before, it's a very powerful tool and it's free. And there are a lot of effects you can use to further improve your audio.